I just set a goal, work hard, and achieve it. Easy. But is it? Now, the reality is, while achieving your goals might sound simple, there are many pitfalls along the way. And especially because New Year's resolutions are coming up, I will be brutally honest, and that is the fact that goal intention, that means setting a goal, does not mean that you actually achieve this goal. And in fact, I'm dreading the situation in the gym in January because I know that all of the New Year's resolutionists who want to get into shape, into the shape of their life, in fact, or make those biceps gains, basically, they will crowd the gym for maybe 4 weeks, which is when over 75% of them will never be seen again. And I don't want you to be one of them. I want you to set goals and actually achieve them. I want you to succeed. And whether you succeed or not is strongly dependent on how well you self-regulate yourself along the way. Now that said, in this video, I will show you the, in fact, quite simple strategic process to get from goal intention to goal achievement. And I will then highlight where the most common pitfalls are. And in fact, despite the fact that I'm a high performance coach and a former project manager in the pharma industry, I must admit that I get stuck in these pitfalls here and there as well. We're all human, of course, but thankfully I now know what to do. I know how to deal with it, and you will know after watching this video as well. And finally, this will be extremely useful for you. I will give you a brief overview of the psychology studies out there to give you a science-backed tool and what you need to do step by step to turn your goal intentions into achieved goals. Now, this will be very beneficial for you, so make sure to watch the video until the end. Now, if you're excited, please take a moment to smash those like and subscribe buttons so that we can build an army of high performance and neuroscience enthusiasts together. I would highly appreciate it. My name is Nicholas. I'm a neuroscientist, dementia researcher, as well as a high performance and flow coach. And this is how you confidently go from goal intention to goal achievement. As you might or might not know, this is a goal achievement video series, so this is part 2 of it, and I decided to split it up into 3 parts. Now, the first part is about your beliefs in your mindset. In other words, this is how you can deal with negative emotions such as anxiety, stress, fear, overwhelm, etc. that can, of course, prevent you from achieving your goal. Now, this is part 1. I will link it for you in the comments, so check it out if you haven't. That is what we'll focus on today is goal intentions, and that is how you can get from setting a goal intention, so setting a goal, to achieving this goal. There's several steps in between that we will look into today. Also many pitfalls, as I mentioned in the beginning, so stay tuned for that. And lastly, of course, there's also long-term motivation, which has a lot to do with managing dopamine release in your brain. So dopamine is the brain neurochemical for motivation and desire. And once again, there will be part 3. So stay tuned for that and subscribe if you haven't, and click the notification bell to be notified when the video is up. In any case, crushing goals is simple. Or is it? Now, generally spoken, there is a process that I laid out for you here, and it all starts, of course, with setting a goal intention. So what is very important in this aspect or in this context is that you need to set a SMART goal. So SMART stands for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. I will give you more details about how this all works later, but generally spoken, what you want to avoid is a weight goal. It's like saying, I want to be a millionaire. I want to be 100 kilograms pure muscle and be Superman. It's just like dreamful. It's wishful thinking, basically. And the moment you make it specific, the moment you make your goal measurable with parameters, the moment your goal becomes realistic and actually attainable, and the moment you have a deadline associated with it, it has to be done by a set time and not whenever. The moment you have all of this defined, it becomes a goal. And the moment you have that, you can actually make it a reality with a plan, which will be the next step. So you need to think about it, strategizing. For example, if you want to write a book, then you obviously have to think about it. You have to make the book outline. You have to write the entire thing. You have to probably find the place to publish it, etc. So you need to make some sort of plan of what you do when. So you could say, this week I focus on making the outline of my book. This week I focus on writing chapter 1 of the book, etc. So just have a plan. Because this plan you can then execute. That's when you can take action. And you want to get to taking action as soon as possible. Now, what we don't like to hear, but I will tell it, I will be very brutally honest, is the fact that you will fail. You will get stuck eventually. You cannot win all the time. That is where most people actually mess up. In fact, as you will see in a second, I mess up here as well. Definitely do. But in any case, when you get stuck and you fail, then you need to modify your plan. You need to change something. And we also call this self-regulation. So change the plan, take action. So execute a modified plan. You might get stuck again, you might fail. Modify the plan, take action again. For example, in the gym, if you don't make any progress, then you need to change something. And in fact, I was too stupid to do that back then. I had a fixed mindset. And I remember that in the gym, I was training for 4 years straight and I made zero strength progress. And that's just because I wasn't able to change anything. And in this context, insanity, the very definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over and over again and expect different results. Doesn't work. And I did that, unfortunately and admittedly back then. So what I ultimately did is get so annoyed at it that I did in fact change. And so I started eating more, I changed my workout routine, I tested different things, and the result was I made progress. I actually got stronger in the gym. That was back then, so that was a revelation for me. And again, it's very important for you. Make sure to change. If you get stuck, change something. If you fail, change something. And even if you don't, you can still optimize, which is always amazing. That's why you want to test, modify the plan, execute and see what happens, monitor the results. And of course, finally, there's goal achievement. That means as you keep modifying the plan, you take action, you make some progress, you get stuck, you modify again, you take action, you make progress. If you keep doing that over and over again, you will pull it off, you will achieve your goals. Sounds easy, but there are many pitfalls along the way, as I mentioned in the beginning. The first one, again, as I mentioned, is vague goals and intentions. I want to be Superman at 100 kilograms. I mean, that is not a goal, that's just wishful thinking. But more about that later, how you can set smart goals. I will give you an example, but keep that in mind. Make your goals as specific and precise as possible. And of course, there's the lack of planning to begin with. So no planning at all. That means I just wing it. I just do it. That doesn't work. Or you just do it poorly. That's actually what many entrepreneurs do. Many entrepreneurs, they start a business and they just work every day. Just do social media, they just do whatever they do, and they never take the time to actually take a step back, look at their business as the CEO, and then think about, how can I grow my business? What are the steps that I need to do to actually make more money? Should I hire employees? Is this actually useful for me? Are there any courses that I can do? Business courses, for example, so that I can make more money in the future. And again, just in general, have an outline for their business. For example, I want to do a promotion. I want to make a new product, etc. So just so you have a general high-level plan. You should do that for the gym. That means set out a training plan for the next months to come. You should do it for your work. For example, if you have multiple projects at once, then you need to make sure which one is the most important project and how can I still manage to do all of the side projects alongside with it. So you have to plan into the future. So make this freaking plan. Without it, it will be very difficult. Then of course you need to take action. And a common problem here is, as a high performance coach of myself, is that you need to look at being productive, obviously. You want to be high performing. And once again, you might lack high performance. You might lack the ability to do so. That means you might not have the time management and task management systems in place. General scheduling. I actually made a video about how you can prioritize tasks with the Eisenhower matrix and how I can use weekly planning to become more effective. So I will link it for you in the comments. So check out the video if you haven't. But it's not just time and task management. It's also the ability to focus. It's the ability to sit down and have focused sessions with deep flow. So deep focus, deep flow, without any distractions, which is also a skill, to really focus on something uninterrupted for 2 hours without being interrupted. All of these things play into taking action, and you can of course improve your skills there. That's what my entire channel is about, in fact. I give you guys neuroscience tools, psychology tools, and high performance tools to become high performers. So that's what I offer you. Make use of it, guys. In any case, the next step, of course, you get stuck or you fail. I do that very often. In fact, I get stuck in the lab because as a neuroscientist, I have to do experiments. And those experiments, again, are often trial and error because as a scientist, you do things no one else has looked into before. So you almost need to expect that you get stuck or fail at some point. So, and what usually happens is your emotions. So your emotions can hinder you from taking action. You might fail, you get disappointed, you get stuck, you lose your motivation. Maybe lockdown happens and you get depressed and you stop taking action. And once again, that is what part 1 of the video series deals with. So we'll link it for you in the description. And this is how you can reframe all of those negative emotions in a way that they actually empower you, that you can continue to take action no matter how you feel. That said, there's of course failing to modify, as I mentioned earlier, as I failed to in the gym, for example, for a very long time, and which got me stuck for 4 years basically without any progress. And lastly, there's the loss of motivation, of course, because you have to self-regulate. You have to keep taking action, keep changing the plan for months and years to come. And in this context, I will upload part 3 for you. Part 3 will dealing with motivation, how you can keep it in the long term, and how you can adjust the dopamine release in your brain to stay motivated long term. So stay tuned for that, guys. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, and you will be notified. But what we will focus on in this video is self-regulation. And there is a little hack, you could say, that was actually proven in studies to work, which I will show you in a second. So we'll now give you a tool that you can use to become better self-regulator and to improve goal achievement massively. Now, how do you get from setting a goal to achieving it? And someone who looks into that is actually Peter M. Gollwitzer. He's a professor at the New York University, and his research again deals with goals and plans and how they affect cognition, emotions, and behavior. And what he did in 2006, in fact, was a meta-analysis. For your information, a meta-analysis looks at all studies that are related to this topic. You look at every single one of them, and you make a conclusion. And generally spoken, his opinion and his findings were that holding a strong goal intention, I want to reach Z, or I want to be a millionaire. Of course, it should be less vague than that, but you know what I mean. Just having a goal intention, having a big goal, setting it alone does not guarantee goal achievement. It will actually increase your likelihood to achieve it if you set a goal, but it does not guarantee it. And the point where many people fail is actually self-regulating. I failed there in the gym, and it's a general problem. And one of the ways to do that, one of the ways to improve your ability to self-regulate is actually known as what-if thinking. implementation intention. Let's call it what if thinking. You have actually done it yourself, just not consciously. And what if thinking is simply, if situation Y is encountered, then I will do goal-directed behavior X. If Y happens, I do X. As simple as it is. And it's just having options. So when shit happens, I do A, B, or C. Just giving yourself this choice. And Gollwitzer, in his meta-analysis, he looked at 94 different studies, but it is what if thinking is actually useful, and he found that it had a medium to large effect on goal attainment. So it improved goal attainment massively. And it had many different outcomes, just briefly for you. First and foremost, what if thinking improved goal striving? So the initiation, so actually that you start taking action towards your goals, was improved. Now you might think, what the hell is what if thinking? So once again, to give you a bit more precise examples, what if thinking could be, I failed an exam, so next semester I will retake it and I will learn twice as long as I did before. So instead of learning 2 hours a day, I will learn 4 hours a day. What if thinking? If I fail the exam, I just take it again, and I just learn a bit more. So you have this option. Another example would be, let's say you have to submit a letter. You have to throw a letter into the mailbox. Then you can say, all right, tomorrow I walk past the mailbox, and when I walk past the mailbox, I throw in the letter. What if thinking? And again, the initiation of goal striving can improve this way as well. You could say, all right, tomorrow at 6 a.m. in the morning, when I get up, I get a coffee and I sit down immediately and do my work. For example. So you can set up however you want. So it can help you to actually get started. Then it can shield you from unwanted influences. For example, if you're constantly interrupted by your colleagues, you can say, all right, if one of my colleagues interrupts me, then I will apologize to them, let them know that I have to do important work, and I will get back to work immediately. Or you can say, in order to avoid being disrupted, I hang up let's call it, I'm busy, whatever, one of those signs at my door so that people don't interrupt me. Fuck off sign, as I like to call it. Anyhow, there are many different ways you can do this. Then, of course, what if thinking, it also prevents that you disengage after failing. And it also conserves your capability for future goal striving. For example, with the exam example again, you fail the exam, and what you say is, no problem, if I fail the exam, I just retake it next semester. I have another shot at it. And again, in order to succeed at the exam, I just learn a bit longer. So it keeps you motivated. You have an option. Another advantage is, of course, that it improves accessing opportunities. So as I mentioned earlier, if I walk by the mailbox, I throw in the letter. If I walk by a beautiful lady, then I will try to talk to her. So if you have those set up in your mind, those what if thinking, then you increase your chance of actually taking action. And lastly, of course, it will automate goal-directed responses. Once again, if you say, if I walk by the mailbox, I throw it in. Could be many different things, but it just makes it automatic. If I fail, then I just learn longer. If my colleagues interrupt me, then I just apologize to them and continue back to working. So it makes this process of actually working towards your goals automatic. Advantage for you. Now that all of that said, how can you actually make use of that? So how can you use this tool that just showed you in a strategic way to make goal achievement easier and more likely? And this is what we'll show you now. So this is a recipe, a step-by-step guide that you can copy paste basically for whatever goal you have in mind. And the first thing you need to do is, of course, set a goal. It must be a SMART goal, however, so specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. To give you an example, Write a book. I want to write a book. That's a bad goal. Why? Because it's wishful thinking. It's wishy-washy. That's not a goal. But if you make it smart, then it could sound something like, I want to write a 4,000 word long chapter 2 that summarizes common goal pitfalls, which you have now learned, by Friday this week. Now, why is this goal better? First and foremost, it's very specific. It's not, I just want to write a goal. No, you actually have a specific goal for this week in this case. It tells you that you want to write 4,000 words. You want to write chapter 2, and you want to summarize common goal pitfalls. So it's very clear what you want to do. It's measurable because it's 4,000 words. So by the end of the week, you can look at your chapter 2 and you can say, all right, I wrote 4,000 words. I wrote less than that, goal not achieved. I wrote more than that. Awesome. So that way. Then, of course, achievable and realistic. Now, I know I can write 4,000 words in a week. It just depends on how productive you are. So you can just realistically look at how much time do I have? Based on my past, how productive am I? And can I actually pull this off? You want to make it a bit challenging, of course, but then again, you should set it up in a way that you can actually achieve it. And lastly, of course, time bound. If you just say write a book, whatever, that can be in a year, that can be in 5 years, it could be in 2 days. Who knows? There's no pressure behind it. On the other hand, if you say, I want to get it done by this Friday, then it's crystal clear. You have time until Friday and the time is ticking. And in fact, the best way to beat procrastination, to take action, is to set a freaking deadline. That is how you get your behind on fire, basically. And that's what I do. If I want to get something done, I set a deadline for it. Anyhow, next you then, of course, make a plan and you strategize. For example, you want to write the book, you want to write those 4,000 words, and then you can say, all right, Monday and Tuesday, don't have too much time, so I just write 2 hours. Wednesday to Friday, looks good, my calendar is free, I have more time, so I can write 4 hours on those days. Again, make a plan, strategize, execute. Next, of course, in order to execute it, very importantly, you have to put it down in your calendar. Because if it's not in your calendar, then it won't be done. And this is a common principle. Don't be wishy-washy. Set it, write it down, set and done. This is also how you build discipline. For example, you could say on Tuesday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., I write 500 words for chapter 2. That could be your goal for this session. For this flow session or deep focus session, as I call it. And the side effect here is that A, you have it planned, you know when, so you know you have time to do it. And B, again, by sticking to it, you build discipline. And discipline is a high performance skill that is incredibly beneficial for you. Think about it. If you can say, all right, I have work to do, I have 2 hours tomorrow, no problem. I just do it from 4 to 6 p.m. tomorrow. And you know that you have the discipline to actually pull it off. How much power does it give you? You will be able to achieve your goals no matter what if you have this discipline built. Next will be, of course, that you get stuck or fail, because it will happen, guys. It will happen. And because life happens. Could be that you get ill on Wednesday, for example, or maybe you don't have time because of a friend, a birthday, whatever. Or worst case scenario, you might actually lose your data. You might actually lose what you have written. That's actually very common with students, in fact, because they like to save their stuff on sticks. And then the stick gets lost, the stick gets corrupted, and everything you wrote is lost. I've seen several cases like that. Not funny. In any case, what you have to do is to assess your progress. You need to look at it every evening. How did you perform over the day? Ideally, on the weekends, you look at how did I perform over the week. And depending on whether it goes good or bad, you modify. For example, and of course, very importantly, you need to use what-if thinking. If Y happens, I do X. So we discuss the tool, and this is where you use it. And an example would be losing the data. Let's say you lost the data for chapter 2. You wrote it over the entire week, but then your stick corrupted and you lost the data. So what you can do is again apply what if thinking. You can say, yeah, sucks, damn it, but in that case I will just restart chapter 2 next week, and once chapter 2 is done, I do chapter 3. Then you can say, I will not be angry because of losing the data, because anger is uncomfortable, doesn't feel well, and it doesn't help me. It just prevents me from taking action. Then you can say, because I lost time, I will now prioritize writing, so I will invest more time for writing. And in order to do that, I will get up at 6 a.m. every morning, I will drink a coffee, I will sit down and will start working immediately. So this will be the most important task of the day for next week, for the next week to come. And for the future, you can use what if thinking to prevent that this happens again. So you can say, to prevent that I lose my data again, that my stick gets corrupted again, I will now make regular save copies on G Drive, ideally every evening, to make sure that my data stays. And that is of course the way that you can of course improve goal striving. You will get back on track immediately. You will not have to deal with the negative emotions if you fail, because you have an option. If shit happens, I can do ABC, no problem. And it will help you to accomplish your goals. And I'm not just saying this, the statistics are in fact shocking. Now, more precisely, the average person is, simply put, horribly ineffective. And what you see here, there's actually data that is derived from the Flow Research Collective. And what the statistics suggest is that the average person is chronically stressed out, and despite the fact that they are chronically stressed, the average person is very unproductive. Now, that said, the intent of the course is to turn you into an elite performer, to make your goals a reality. And it is everything I have personally learned and that I teach as a high performance coach and as a neuroscientist. So in other words, is what I would have loved to know much earlier, and it is what I want to offer you to accelerate your success. Now, I will link you the article, everything you need to know, in the video description. Just briefly, the 8-week course will allow you to find your passion and purpose, or your why, as your personal North Star in life, so that we can also, as a next step, map out your way to your dreams with crystal clear goals. So there will be no guesswork anymore. You feel happier and more fulfilled, since you know the deeper meaning behind every task that you do every single day. And once you have gained clarity about what it is, what your mission is in life, which is what the vast majority of people actually never do, in fact, you will then acquire the elite performance skills that you need to accomplish your goals. And that includes adjusting your belief system, as well as optimizing your routine, diet, time, and task management for optimal and mental performance, for optimal mental and physical performance, that is. Other aspects of the course will be that you learn state control. That means that you learn how to control your body language, how you feel, and how you act in real time. And in addition, you will also learn how to control your autonomic nervous system, so your level of arousal, for stress resistance, and for ideal alertness. That means you don't want to be too little or too sluggish that you cannot do your work effectively, and you also don't want to be so hyped up that you become anxious and focusing becomes troublesome. And finally, the last 2 modules, they will deal with how you get into flow, of course, or the zone. So that means that you want to get that 500% productivity and 430% creativity boost. And in addition, we will also optimize the dopamine and serotonin release in your brain for long-lasting motivation, drive, focus, and a feeling of satisfaction. And beware, this course is for serious individuals. So it's for those of you who desire to become the very best. And there's no need to be perfect. Again, that's a dangerous word. because also the program is designed to make you better no matter where you start. However, if you're not ready to change, if you're not ready to put in the effort, then this course is not for you. And that concludes the video. So as always, thank you for your time and attention. And if you enjoyed the video and if you want to support the channel, please like, subscribe and share the video with your friends and those who could benefit from it so that we can build an army of neuroscience and high performance enthusiasts together. I would strongly appreciate it. And as you now know, there are multiple pitfalls along the way from goal intention to goal achievement. And these pitfalls, they include one, that your goals and intentions are too vague, so you should set specific SMART goals. Then two, that you lack the high-level thinking and planning surrounding achieving your goal, so you need to take a step back and strategize a little bit. Then three, that is that your ability to take action is poor. That could, for example, be because your time and task management is suboptimal, or because you have trouble to have sessions in which you're deeply focused. You might also get constantly distracted. And four would be that your emotions get in the way when you get stuck or fail. So for this, please refer to part 1 of this video series in which I talk about how you can overcome your negative emotions with reframing. Then 5, you might fail to modify the plan that you've made, and you might fail to modify your behavior after getting stuck. This is called a self-regulation. And lastly, number 6 would be the fact that you lose motivation along the way. Very possible, of course. And motivation and how you control dopamine in your brain for goal achievement will be the topic of part 3. So again, make sure to subscribe and press the notification bell to be notified when the video is up. Now that said, in this context, let me know which of these 6 goal pitfalls, your goals and intentions are too vague, you lack the high-level thinking and planning, your ability to take action still needs some work, your emotions get in the way when you get stuck or fail, you fail to modify the plan and your behavior after you get stuck, and 6, you lose motivation along the way. Which of these 6 goal pitfalls are the biggest challenge for you? And on the other hand, which of these 6 goal pitfalls do you overcome with ease? You master all the time, no problem for you. Let me know in the comments, I'd love to know. And as you know, my problem was actually self-regulation for a long time. So modifying the plan that I did and modifying my behavior. Also, that said, what I showed you afterwards was the what if thinking. If Y happens, do X. So it's about having options. And this is actually, in fact, an evidence-backed tool, as you now know, that increases the likelihood that you accomplish your goals because it improves your ability to self-regulate. And lastly, I also gave you a 5-step process, so feel free to rewatch the video for it. That covers how you can strategically self-regulate and how you can use what-if thinking to make sure that you accomplish any goal. And I encourage you guys to steal this process and to apply it to whatever goals you have to make them a reality. That said, have a strategic week, high performers, and I will see you in the next video.